So they'll be calling you a radical. Let's continue this discussion and answer that phone call. Now, in regards to what's going on as far as the Middle East of Eden, as I named it, you know, this ridiculous, obscene, grotesque war in Iran. But of course, there's always been the debate, right? Now, what kills me is now you've contemporized, you got a lot of people doing a lot of good work, but I mean, the Million Mass March, Anonymous, we were on this in the 1990s. We were exposing the Epstein cult, the BB cult in the 1990s. You know, I invented, Kevin Blanche and John Anthony Hurd, we're the ones that got together. We invented the Million Mass March. Now, of course, I wanted to call it the Post-Ignorance Project, which that was my movement. John and I, you know, and I agree. By the way, John is dead. Killed tragically in a truck rollover accident, I believe, in Colorado. So, let's talk about this. You know, I love Max Blumenthal, don't get me wrong. Love Professor John Mershazer. Love Normal Finkelstein. I mean, I love these guys. And this debate, you know, John wrote that paper, what, 2006-ish? Well, come on, man. Come on, John. I mean, your paper you wrote was late to the game even then. Let's go back to the peace movement of 2001, 2002. Well, we even go back to, I mean, and you think about the accomplishments of the activists. Those people are not activists. Now, they're truth tellers, and they're fantastic people, and what they're doing right now is a gem. Now, Scott Ritter's ruined he's ruined his credibility multiple times. And I love Scott Ritter. I mean, he can go, can he? My God, his rants. But he puts out so much false bullshit, and he's still, I mean, remember what a hardcore Trumper was. He drank so much Trump Kool-Aid, and he's still a Putin Kool-Aid drinker. But, you know, it is what it is, and, you know, a lot of stuff he says is total bullshit. But he's on the right side of the narrative on a lot of things. But let's get real about this narrative. So there's always been a debate, clear back into the 90s. Well, it goes deeper than that. It's longer than that. Clear back to John Kennedy. Clear back to Eisenhower. Clear back to Truman being popped up, replace Wallace. Is this really, you know, since the Middle East of Eden colonial apartheid state, which one? The United States? I mean, all the United States is an apartheid colonial, I don't call it, you know, I used to call it imperialist state. You know, it's not capitalism, it's not socialism, it's communism, it's scamockeryism. It's a colony of white, well, not even white, European, because a lot of the most evil of the colonial settlers here were brown. They're Portuguese and Spaniards, America Vespucci on Balco, freaking Father Sierra on chemo. So, but the thing is, since the bomb, we have become this military colonial state. And is it being controlled by the Middle East of Eden? I don't even like using the word Israel. And its donor class. Is it the tail wagging the dog? Now, this debate has always raged on. Finkelstein and John have had this debate since way back. But let's get real. The Post-Ignorance Project, Anonymous, Julian Assange, Aaron Swartz, people even before that, and you don't even know who Anonymous is. You still don't. I do. We're exposing this big time we exposed the Epstein class clear back in the mid-90s. In the mid-90s, we were exposing it all. You know, he got convicted. Los Alamos, Papa. And one day you'll wake up and realize that the top of the pyramid, the head of the snake, is the Epstein class, the Middle East of Eden class, is the nuclear energy class, pop, drop. That's the crux of this. That's the foundation. Why do you think I go after it so radically, so hard? I know. So is it the donor class? You know, the donor class and Israel and their IPAC lobby controlling American politicians? Or is that the tail wagging the dog? Is it really just America playing Israel to perpetuate their colonialism, their, you know, Dole freaking, wasn't he Freud's nephew? That, I mean, this American imperialist colonial state. Which is it? One or the other? Is it the tail wagging the dog or the dog wagging the tail in this evilness? There's a third thesis. And this is the thesis that I've always bought into. And this is the thesis that I've... Well, what is the third thesis? This really isn't about these two borders. It's about a group of... It's about people inside those groups, inside those nations, inside those places. A group inside the United States, a group inside of the Middle East, Israel, and other places, by the way, same as Europe, that are bloodlust, bloodthirsty, sick, born sick, demented, want to kill. Their souls and their being is born with hate. Now, you know, there's native cultures out here. There's, right here in Utah, certain native cultures that believe all human beings are born evil and you have to overcome it. And other ones don't. Now, I don't believe that. But I believe there's groups of them. That's exactly what I think it is, and I think that's what it always has been. And they got a lot of traction. And how did they get the traction? Through the fake Jesus movement. The evangelical Christian movement. Well, the predominant faith fell for it here too. Now, was it influenced by the Zionists? Yeah, of course it was. That's what they call it here. But you can only be hypnotized if you want to be hypnotized. Operation Foxconn News, one about Jesse. What I believe, and that's the nuclear industry, this is what I believe. I love Normal Finkelstein. I love Professor John. They're giants. I love Max Blumenthal. They're giants. All these people that have done the good work. And the Zionists and the evangelical Christian movement, the Huckabee representative thumbprint, it's more than Hagen and these people. These scumbag loser creeps are bloodlust. You know what I believe? Good versus evil. I believe they are devils. I believe they're Satan. This is what I believe. I believe in the thesis good versus evil. I believe these fake so-called Christians, these fake Jesus died so I could read American manufactured Jesus, hairspray Jesus, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus, hate thy neighbor Jesus, covet thy neighbor's Walmart good Jesus, thou shalt kill Jesus. These monsters, I believe, are Satan, and they masquerade. Now, it's written in the own thesis here in Utah. The predominant religion here, which I grew up in, and I remember when I left, when I was a real little kid, and I told my grandma one day, I said, Grandma, they keep pounding us with this Gentile thing. What's a Gentile? I was really good with numbers and math as a kid, really gifted as far as with numbers. She's like, well, Kevin, that's everyone but us. What do you mean, everyone but us? Everyone that has not been baptized. What? And I got baptized for the dead. I mean, it was a trip, man. And it was Hebrew names. I mean, it freaked my twin sister out. My dad didn't even know. He was pissed. But anyway, and I says, how can that be? You know, this is in the 1960s when I'm a little kid. I'm like early 1970s. Well, I know how many people are on Earth, Grandma. There's billions. There's 3-4 billion people on Earth. I know how many of us in the M faith are, and you just say in the, and then I talked to her about different faiths because they're teaching us all that, and she says, no, just us. If you're not baptized, you don't go to heaven. What? Well, there's only a few million of us. I can do math. How can that possibly be? Well, in this faith, it's written into their own doctrine. It's called the White Horse Prophecy. And in that faith, it's written that this faith will completely be hijacked and taken over by devils, and they will masquerade in hairspray. And they'll talk in passive-aggressive language, and they're really Satan. I personally believe And I'm not talking from a religious, God versus Satan. I'm talking about good versus evil. Whatever philosophy you buy into, whether that be heaven or hell, whether that be reincarnation, I believe that's where we're at. I believe we live in that exact. So this thesis that we need to create end times and Armageddon so Jesus come back, that's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. I've never bought any of that bullshit. I have more of a native belief system. You know what most natives believe in the will of life and reincarnation, the stars, the light. I don't know anything, but I fall more into those philosophies. And I believe, life is a test. I believe that it is about good versus evil, and I don't think it has anything to do with organized religion, just like our forefathers said. So, what I believe is going on today, you can blame on, and the preachers that preach this, no, it's their followers. You can only be led if you want to be led. I believe there's a certain group, and I think it's always existed, and they get enough of them, and they're so hell-bent, they're so crazy, intense, radicalized from birth, whether it be something that bothered them. I mean, maybe they're just born so butt ugly that, have a Freudian take on it. They got no attention, that they're just pure evil. And they want to kill. They hate. They have jealousy, rules every part of their being. That's what the nuclear energy industry is. And so I don't think John Mearsheimer or Norman Finkelstein, when it comes to that debater, obviously, IPAC has got control of politics, but they have for a long, long, long time. Clear back to the, Trump calls him the first Jewish president. Please, Bill Clinton took care of that. And it's not Jewish. It's not. They're not of the J faith. They fake it. They're from Brooklyn. They're from Los Angeles. They're from San Francisco. They're from Poland. They're surely not Semitic. And I've always known this. And so these guys are rehashing and it's been contemporized, and God bless them. But I see they all have AdSense accounts. They're all making money, patting themselves on the back. And Max Blumenthal is somewhat of an activist. Obviously, when he showed up and let Blinken have it, that's activism. But John Finkelstein, Chris Hedges, they're not activists. They're not. They're truth tellers. They're fantastic. They're gems, but they're contemporized after the fact. Now there's the tail wagging the dog. Kevin Blanch, why do you think they go after me so radically? You can deny my work all you want. I don't give a fuck. My work is about winning. It's like and don't get me wrong, I love Code Pink and their work, but they don't win anything. They never have. And by the way, their work right now is better than it's ever been. Matea Benjamin, I'm not a big fan of her. I am now, per se, and God bless her for her work and her group, but I don't know, especially when she was not a fan. And I was heavily involved in the Peace Act. I have been since a little boy. I've been heavily involved since a kid, and I've been heavily involved in Anonymous way back, clear back into the fucking early 90s. Remember, I was the professor at the #1 school here. I left because of the takeover. I don't have an AdSense account. I don't buy into their bullshit. I don't buy into their capitalism, socialism, communism. I'm not buying into any of that. Their scamockeryism, fuck them. I'm the pure counterculturist, always have been, in a real truth way. And I do know the top of the pyramid on this. I know what it is. And I've always known. Pop, pop, OOP, drop. It's nuclearism. Which came first, the nuclear chicken or the egg? It's nuclear energy. And the pork and the lies. These overcompensation cycle. Governor Cox is a mentally ill, evil person. Please. John Trump, think about what he's done in his life. He's committed hundreds, if not thousands of felonies, all right down to little kids. That dude's anybody that believed anything in him. That scumbag, backstabber Biden. I never voted for either one of the low-life dirtbag. Now, a bummer dumber fooled me because he voted against both wars and the referendum on the war. That he stabbed me in the back. Cheryl Mills, Hillary Clinton. I mean, oh God, Hillary, are you kidding? They stole the vote in the DNC. But, yeah, these people, these billionaire class that have been allowed to run rickshaw, you know, Marine Adelson wins the NBA lottery after buying the Mavericks less than 1. Oh, fuck, it's all rigged. I know that. I've known that for a long time. This imperialist class, they're sick and evil. The Middle East, Bibi? Fuck, how's he still in power? Because there's a lot of sick, evil fuckers that live in that fucking apartheid state that support him. It's not the tail wagging the dog. It's, and the bottom line to this is the evangelical Christian movement. When it fucking started being fed this, and you got to realize these preachers that did this, Jesus said, I mean, oh my God, Joel, the megachurch. Remember we used to stand in front of the megachurch? This is long before my YouTube camera. We used to hold up signs for deposit only. I mean, the evangelical movement, and some of the people got fooled and tricked, I guess, but you can only be fooled and tricked if you want to be fooled and tricked. So really, my thesis is this. My thesis, you have a group of evil, a lot of them. I would say 40%, I would say, maybe not 40, but I'd say 30% of people over the age of 40 years old in the United States are pure evil. They're sick motherfuckers. They hate everybody, hate their neighbor, they hate themselves. They're bloodlust, bloodthirsty, sick, and they're all about somebody else. They're not about their family or their kids going to bleed. I mean, I grew up in a special school. I watched my father die, eldest as he died. You know, he gave his life. They're sick motherfuckers. And as far as, let's get back to the nuclearism. You can age restrict it, I don't care. At least it's out there. So, we get no credit. You know, the heavy lifting that Anonymous did. The heavy lifting. This is even long before Julian Assange come along. Aaron Swartz. The heavy lifting that the Million Mass March did. My God, what a movement. My God, oh, look what they did to us. Look what they've done to Kevin West, the activist that wins. I'm the activist that wins. You know, I was being interviewed with Matea Benjamin in front of the White House when they announced Biden beat Trump. And I was glad. Lesser of two evils? Yeah, well, I've always hated fucking Trump for a long time because I know everything about him. I lived in New York long enough to know what a sick, lying, demented creep he is. You know, backstabber Biden, I didn't vote for either one of them. I was being interviewed by French TV with Matea Benjamin, standing right there. And I remember the interviewer said to us, well, you guys got to be sad as peace activists. You lost so many, and he went on about, you know, Epstein. Wait, stop. Whoever told you I was a peace activist? No. I'm an anti-nuclear energy activist. I'm a health activist. I'm an environmentalist. You could say that about her, but you cannot say that about me. I've won so many, including AML leukemia, given 2 months to live. Without Kevin Blanche, I took on Senator. Without Kevin Blanche, Senator Norfolk never shuts down. Which that was the domino, which I consider the greatest grassroots achievement in activism world history. The accomplishments I've had as the activist at the local level, the international level, are staggering. I don't lose when I take these causes on. Now I pay a price, but I don't lose. So don't tell me. You know, the peace movement, of course I've been involved, but I'm more of the environmentalist. Now, am I losing right? No. The Post-Ignorance Project, fuck, we're kicking the fuck out of the nuclear industry. You know, everybody's like propaganda. I like how they timed it for March 11th. Yay, EU's reconsidering, Germany's going to reconsider. No, they're not. He finally came out there, far-right, conservative. They have a coalition government. Mertz come out and says, no, we're never going back to nuclear. And this is your right party. You think the left's gonna? I don't think so. Their Green Party has teeth. No, I'm the activist that wins. And let's get back to Fukushima and the lies. And, you know, your HBO, I don't give a fuck about their HBO documentary because it's all based on a false narrative anyway. The bottom line is this. When the meltdowns happened, when the quake happened, and you play back the tape, play back my videos, those should have millions. that first video I did going, these are meltdowns, don't believe it, blah, 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 blah. That was March 12th, I put that up. When I went to bed, it had 114,000 views. When I got up, it had 11,000 views. And Google came to me. Google came to me at one time, YouTube, and says, you are in the top, not 10%, top 10 YouTube sites of retention. Fuck, at one point, my retention level was 98%. You know, they've always kettled me. They've always gone, and then they says, oh no, we took away a lot of your view count because of abstract views, they called them. You know, posting into newspapers. I mean, I was everywhere and everything, and I was right about everything. When the shake happened, it had nothing to do with the tsunami, 0.0. When the shake happened, I knew I was at the water school here. Yeah, CEO of GE, the #1 school business in the United States. I was the guy there. I taught the, and by the way, I'm the first guy on the planet that identified that they bought puts on the airline stocks. I taught that class. I taught puts and calls, option class, in the investment portfolio class at the #1 school in the United States. Beating Wharton, beating Harvard, beating Yale, when it happened. CIA, and FBI, go ask them, they'll tell you. I'm the guy that identified. We had them, we got them right then. I knew it was a fraud. We had them, we knew who bought them. They made, I mean, they bought tight to expiration, way out of the money. They paid a penny a piece for them. They made fucking millions and millions. And the money was traced immediately. I'm the first guy that identified that. Of course, I got blackballed at this university. Well, I bolted. Now they're under investigation, selling state secrets to China. First story, and public entity. When the shake happened, I did the due diligence on the Mach 1, Mach 2s. The GE water boilers. Utah Construction, that's what we were saying. GE and Utah Construction merged in 1975, the biggest corporate merger in planet history. Utah was the parent company. The Water School of Business, that's where I was at. #1. #1, not some opinion being tested. #1. They blackballed me, what they did to me. Of course. I did the fucking due diligence on nuclear reactors. I knew the Mach 1, Mach 2, which GE built, could not handle an 8. I knew that. When I saw this was a 9, I was in Energy Solutions dump site protesting the Italian waste coming here, which was coming illegal. Now it's legal because Little Spencer's opened the door and let it in. I mean, I talked to J.D. Vance right there in that building in 2017. Says, what the fuck is this CI property shit? I mean, Mitt Romney, Mike Lee, so many of these people, you know, all these, Governor Cox, Governor Herbert, I've had conversations with every one of them face to face on YouTube. But people, I've learned, people don't want the truth. They don't want happiness. They don't want joy. They want to hate the neighbor. They want to be jealous. They want to kill. This is a bloodlust, bloodthirsty population that masquerades in religion and calls themselves Christians. They're bloodlust, sick haters. I mean, the African American community had termed that term fucking many, many decades, the haters. That's what they are. That's what it is, but it's at a whole nother level. These people masquerade. They want to kill you. They want to kill everyone. They want you dead. They root for you today. These are your friends and your neighbors in your community. There's what it is. And we let them get control. They took control of the Middle East of Eden. You know, that apartheid state should have never happened. And this was the same type of group of people that invented it. And it passes through freaking bloodlines into, yeah, obviously. It passes through in their children, yeah. I mean, baby was born in Poland, please. So, when it shook, I knew. The spent fuel pools, 880,000 tons, were in full-blown out fucking Zerk fire. They cracked, the water run off them, they blew up. The jet stream was coming over us. It hammered us. Here you're letting Cheryl Mills off the hook still. I see she's on the hill with Hillary. Got to talk to Henry before we go to Fukushima. Why would she talk to Henry Kissinger? Because he's a bloodlust. Hey, you don't think he's a bloodlust hater? You don't know anything about Cambodia. You know, so Oppenheimer, you don't think he's a bloodlust hater? Now, these are the same group of a certain faith, but there's other ones of other faiths also. I mean, Christian Crusaders on Balka. In the name of religion, that's where they always go. I used to be all fucked up on the dope, now I'm all fucked up on the Lord. That's Cheech and Chong. I mean, we got that. We got that as young people. I've always known this is a scam. The United States is a fucking dirty fucking apartheid fucking still the natives. I've known that. But we have to live here. And we did so much better in the 70s. But I know the top of the heap is nuclear energy. You can do your HBO documentary all you want. You can do all the documentaries all you want. The bottom line is this. The second the quake happened, and I'm sure there were other reactors in Japan when it melted, including Diachi, we had live cams. The Chinese activists had live cams because they knew this thing. Had problems before, and they put it on CNN. There it is, blowing up right in front of your face, in front of God and everybody. Dana Dunford's done so much good work with the pictures before and exposed the lies that ABC went over there in their mock-up. Anybody would have a brain knew these things were full blown out gone. 4 cores, they've never gotten there. 4, not 3 full core meltdowns. There are 4 full core meltdowns that are buried in the Pacific Ocean. It took me a year and a half to convince anybody there was even one meltdown. I knew. This has never happened before. Now stay with me. This has never happened before. Now we can go back to your first grade science class. For every action, there's a reaction. This is the greatest action. We're afraid of nuclear meltdowns. See no nuclear, speak no, hear no, until they happen. I mean, because people can profit off fear porn. The reality there don't want any part of this fucking reality. We know the cancer epidemic spiked over North America. We know where they're down. We know the Pacific Ocean collapsed the Great Pacific in an epic hardcore way. The type of work by Kevin Lynch, first show hypothesized the knowledge. I stood right here. Said these are full blown out meltdowns. And my favorite video I ever did, I stood here just a couple days after and I says, just remember this. 15 years later, and I predicted that HBO would do this 15 years after the fact. I mean, play back the tape. Just remember 10, 15 years from now, and I'm telling you this day 2 or 3, I'm standing right here with my Montana hat on. I love that video. Just remember, Saddam Hussein did not have weapons of mass destruction. George W. Bush surely did not win the 2000 election. Pat Tillman did not fight up 900 million Al-Qaeda. He was executed by his own men. Just remember thereof when you look back on Fukushima. These are full blown out meltdowns, and it's fucking killing the Pacific Island. They're in denial, and they're going to go into fucking mega cover-up. Fuck day 1, day 2, day 3. It's the greatest event in human history. And I don't do opinion. I do science. I'm not Neil deGrasse. I'm not Stephen Hawking. I'm not Miko Kaku, made for TV philosophers. They're not fucking spooky science or this. I'm a science. You have to be able to prove it. First, you have these are full blown out meltdowns. These cores, I named it Delma Argentina syndrome on day 5. Which we know that for a fact now. They're going to burrow into the Pacific Ocean, these cores. And we're not even talking the 880,000 tons of spent fuel that went into full meltdown, full blown out, and just plumed over us. They took down Radnet the day that it happened. What's Radnet? Oh, please. I mean, Bob Nichols did so much good work on that. God bless him. You know, E&E News, remember all that work she did? Well, I was helping her. You know, I'm heavily, heavily more connected with Anonymous than you'd think I was. And, I mean, so much work for so many decades and so many years. Been at the Million Mats, we're all over this. Look at the speech I gave on the Million Mats March. So, it's a long video, it's an important video. These meltdowns happened immediately and they never did anything. Barry Antoinette spent in 32 ships and turned around. He turned around on the advice of Rahm Emanuel. Make it so, John Holdren. I mean, these are sick. Barack Obama is one sick, degenerate, evil human being. Who knew I was really good at killing people? I mean, they prop these sick monsters. And if the Epstein list hasn't proven that to you, that's who they are. So is the tail wagging the dog? Is Finkelstein right in 2006? Or is Professor John? Well, I mean, come on. Anonymous they're the ones that were right. Clear back in the night, we were all over Epstein then in New York City. We were videoing at his house. People, I mean, we knew. I mean, come on. You just didn't want to hear it. The American populace doesn't want it. There's a reason the people know they're being lied to. but they want to be lied to. Operation Boscon News, people still watch. The insanity of Sean Hannity. These are, well, there's a sick, evil fucking monster. So my belief system is which group gets control. I mean, John Kennedy tried somewhat. You know, his granddaughter dies of the open air testing, but, you know, remember, he shut them off, but then he restarted them. You know, by the way, I don't talk enough about this, but I'm sure Trump has started popping off underground, but Obama did an underground test. You know, because the seismic reads are showing all over Nevada. I'm sure he's popping them off underground. You know, he has his way of doing. You know, and my dad never got any compensation being nuked to death as a Marine. Everybody lies about that. Neither have I. I never got shit. I've been attacked. I don't have an AdSense. I don't want one. You know, I get by with a little help from my friend. So I wanted to put that up. You know, there's no doubt in my life you have a certain group, and you know, maybe it isn't 30%, maybe it's 20-something%, but they seek power, and they've hooked on to the, you know, BB and Clan played these evangelical preachers. Well, they paid them, and the evangelical preachers have preyed onto the bloodlust, bloodthirsty populace of this country. Think about what they did to the Native Americans. I mean, come on. What they did to the Japanese after Pearl Harbor. I mean, we can go on and look what they've done to the African American fucking populace they used to do. Of course, you see when Black Lives Matters got power, so it's really, is it all about race? No. You say, oh, why? Well, think about the Portuguese and the Spaniards, what they did in South America and here in the United States to native cultures. So that's what it is. You know, we need to look in the fucking mirror. What's going on around has been disgusting, but blonde-haired, blue-eyed, I mean, my God. So I don't agree with either one of them. And God bless John, and God bless Max, and God bless these people, but dude, they're not activists. I mean, Max somewhat. I'm the activist that wins. And the thing I've taken on my whole life is the nuclear energy crime syndicate. I'm kicking the fuck out of him. Or Kevin reached into the bag and he slung. I'm beating the shit out of him. Really beating the shit out of him. That's just a fact. I blocked Newcastle here. I blocked the heavy waste coming in here. I'm blocking Little Spencer right now as nuclear hub. You know, they get some money. Well, they can have their money. Just remember this. I was given 2 months to live with AML to nuke. Less than 1% survived. My doctor says I'm the biggest miracle. I'm alive. I'm alive. Open heart surgery twice against all odds. Against all odds. No, I'm the activist that wins. And you can deny my work at your own fucking peril. I really don't give a fuck. But I was right the whole time. For Hamlet and Cassandra, they got together. They had a baby. Oh, curse the spite I was ever born to set this right. I have some room for you, and I have some for me. Called cancer. But you must wear yours with a difference. You're not above it. Colin Powell died of multiple myeloma. So did Rumsfeld, which that is blood cancer. That's what I have. I'm alive. I'm the activist that wins. And God bless all these, you know, page readers, these armchair activists, these truth tellers. I'm all for them. But they're not activists. I'm the activist. I do a lot of dirty work in the trenches you don't even know about. And because life is a fucking test. And I'm beating the fuck out of them. Kevin Blanche versus the Nuclear Energy Crime Syndicate. One day you will wake up and realize the nuke energy is the top of this imperialist, mass murdering, evil cult's heap. Take them down, we take them all down. And Trump is a fucking fool. Well, he always was. Trumpism? Oh, Trumpism's so fucking gone. But, you know, where do we go from here? Got to keep them separated. We're not separated. The mask is off. Keep up the good work, everyone. Stay in. Here we go. Call it an airstrike. Call it an airstrike on Blanche. Is that a military chopper? Yeah. Yeah. Fuck. What a nightmare. Pop, pop, a loppy drop. They never stop. Don't you cuss that parallel. Turn Korea into a kitchen call hell. Went out to Vietnam to kill the Viet Cong. Kissinger, Cambodia. Kissinger, Cambodia. If Kissinger doesn't prove my thesis. Hell no. When we go, we fought back. Granted, the 70s weren't perfect a million times, but art, culture, sexuality, beauty. I always go back to my Farrah Fawcett poster on the wall. It says it all. When I was a teenager. 70s. And they chipped away. Reagan. They chipped away. They found Bill, Walmart, freaking Clinton, and Hillary, the arranged cousins. I did not in hell. And you believe that story that his father